So why do you think emotional intelligence is so important for leaders? We're talking about like people in their own lives and the way that they handle, but why leaders need to learn that?
I first think leaders, my focus on leadership is inspiration. I think leaders should be inspirational, but I also think, Adi, they should be models of behavior. Like parents in a home are models of behavior, right? If you think about it, my belief is people are not born to hate. They are not born hating. They don't come out of the womb hating, right? They learn that someplace. Typically, it's learned behavior because it's modeled in the home or it's modeled in other leadership capacities, businesses, organizations, etc. Right? So we have to realize that leadership is not just inspirational, it's also about modeling. And so I think leaders that lack emotional intelligence, in other words, they want to control everything. In other words, they get frustrated easily. They don't have patience. Most importantly, we see that they retaliate when they don't get their way, right? That's just a horrible need for control. And that is not modeling healthy behavior. So, what I like to say, leaders that don't have emotional intelligence, they're like a hurricane. They come in with a big blow and then they leave enormous damage when they leave, right? Positive leaders, they come in with stability and they come in supporting people. We achieve our a consensus and common goals. And they're also leaders with emotional intelligence realize that they work from the bottom up, not the top down. I'll give you an example. In my belief system, leaders are the foundation of an organization. Is that fair? They bring the strength, they bring the experience, they bring the education, the knowledge, the know-how. All right. They're the foundation. Would we ever put the foundation of a building on the top of a building?
No,
Never, because it
it's
would
always
be it's always on the bottom, whether it's a hotel, a restaurant, apartment building, office, whatever it is, the foundation is always at the bottom. So the first thing, why it's so important that leaders have emotional intelligence is they recognize that. Adi, they realize they're there to support people, not to push down on them, not to force them to do what they think they should do, but to turn them loose. You'd much rather say whoa than giddy up, right? You really want people to thrive, and to do that, you've got to be at the bottom. And the other thing people with emotional intelligence understand is that 99% of all organization charts don't plug the customers into their organization chart,
right.
right? Well, if you plug your customers into a top down organization chart, they're going to be the customer's going to be at the bottom because they're in touch with all the line employees who are at the bottom in your org chart.
Right.
Nobody in their right mind would put their customers at the bottom of their prioritizations, right? Nobody would.
Right.
The customers go at the top. Your line employees go at the top because they support the customers. Then your supervisors support your line employees. Then the leadership supports the supervisors. So
Yeah.
that's why I think EI is so crucial for leadership. And the second most important aspect of that is empathy, for all the reasons we've already talked about.
Yeah. But correct me if I'm wrong, but most leaders that I know of would say, I need to be powerful. I need to present something which is very stable. I need to know things even more than others. And my inspiration to others is because I'm smarter, I'm better, I know how to do things. I will teach them how to do things, right?
Right. But what they're missing is the best leaders, the best success stories in the world have come from individuals at times, but usually it's from a leader that has surrounded themselves with really bright people, and that leader is not jealous of them, and that leader recognizes the value that they bring. And so you really surround yourself with good people, oftentimes better people than you are. But that takes a very high level of emotional intelligence to be able to do that. But it does happen. And when it happens, it is powerful.
You know, the first person that comes to my mind when we have this conversation is Steve Jobs,
Yeah.
right? And most people would say that he's like so successful, of course,
Yeah.
smart, and a great leader because he knows what he wants to get and he gets everyone in the same level of perfection as he will wants it to be. But if I'm not mistaken, again, I'm not an expert in Steve Jobs. He was not that good in the aspect that you are talking about, right?
Right. Right. His ex-wife, it appears, given what she's been doing with her money, the same thing with Jeff Bezos' ex-wife. They tend to see the world differently than their exes, and they maybe they learned from those experiences, right? I'm sure they did, and we all evolve, right, over time. And I think it was Muhammad Ali that said, just to make that point, that if we still think the same way at 50 that we did as when we were 20 years old, we've wasted the last 30 years, right?
Yeah,
And
makes
so,
sense.
the women in their lives, it appears, had a much higher level of emotional intelligence and an understanding of what that incredible responsibility of leadership means, truly means. It doesn't mean give me more. It doesn't mean pull the red carpet up behind me. It doesn't mean be unkind to people, be greedy. It doesn't mean I get to stay in power forever. What it means is we've been blessed for a period of time. We need to appreciate that, and we need to, I think, help people achieve a common goal or our vision, but we do it together, and we give everybody the tools they need to do the job and support them in order to do it. And that creates long-term viability and sustainability of a mission or a vision for a business. Doesn't mean it can't change, Adi, right? The best businesses modify a lot, right? But I think about Google's, they have lots of little sayings that they've used to make them so successful in a global powerhouse. But one of the ones that I latch on to is fail quickly, right? In
I
most
think
businesses,
it's Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook, but I'm not sure about that one.
yeah, I think it's Google.